Hi, what's up? My name's Brooke. Welcome to my channel. Hope you're doing great. We're gonna have a fantastic time. Today I'm talking about my expectations versus my realities for my first semester of college. It just ended in December. I go to a junior college or a community college in College Station called Blinn because I didn't get into Texas A&M when I wanted to. And there were other benefits, which I'll talk about in a different video, for me going to a junior college instead of going to a university. First, I am about to start my second semester, and I know whenever I was going into my first semester of college, I was constantly looking at videos on YouTube, looking for advice on how my first semester of college might be. And here I am to tell you how it actually was. My first thing that I expected was that I expected that I was going to make a lot of friends. And I say this because in high school, I made tons of friends and it wasn't really hard for me to do so. I'm a very extroverted, friendly person, and making friends has never been a problem for me. When I went to college, it just wasn't like that. There were a lot of girls and guys that I met in my classes in college and were going to do similar majors and just, be in sort of the same classes. But hanging outside of school and making friends outside of school was really hard to do. But overall, college is kind of lonely. This kind of leads into my second one too. I expected that I was going to remain close with the friends that I had in high school, and boy, did that slap me on the face. The people I hang out with most in College Station are people I actually know from where I went to high school, but I wasn't close with them whenever I was in high school. There were a few people that I went to College Station with, so to speak. Not that I was going to room with them, not that we were like, oh my god, let's both go to A&M, let's do that. It was just like we mutually knew each other, or we were really good friends, and somehow we both ended up wanting to go to the same school. And I've drifted apart from them, and it was really hard. They just wanted to go down different paths, and it's hard to see someone that you love so much do that. My third, this is number 3, my third expectation was that I thought I was gonna cook healthier for myself because I was the one cooking and I was only cooking for myself. I really don't know why I thought this, because I'm not, at home, I wanted to cook healthier, but you obviously had to eat whatever my family made, but that just wasn't the case whenever I came to college either, so. I don't know, there was one night that, it was obviously a rough week, because there were 3 nights in a row that I bought this massive bag of 1.5 pounds of frozen French fries to keep in my freezer for whenever I cook chicken tenders and things like that, just to have as a side. There was a week in my first semester where I had those for 3 nights. I cooked a big plate of frozen French fries in the oven and I ate them for dinner 3 nights in a row. It was I went into college having this expectation where I was gonna eat healthy and I was gonna stick to these diets, but it ends up getting really hard, especially when you don't want to go to the grocery store and that you have to find time to do that. And I just wasn't expecting that. My fourth one is that I didn't think that I was gonna come home to go see my family a lot. I thought oh, maybe I'll see them maybe 5 times a semester. I didn't want to pay for football games, and all my friends went to the football games. I went to 2, but whenever they were all at the football games, it was so lonely, so I ended up going back a lot. And I'm very lucky. I only live an hour away from College Station, but it was still not something I was expecting. The reality was that I came home a lot more than I thought I was going to, And it's not exactly a bad thing. I think especially for your first semester, first year of college, like going home is not a bad thing. And especially for my parents, they really appreciated it. It wasn't just me wanting to go home, is that they missed me. My fifth one kind of applies to me, but not exactly. And it's just more of a common thing that I've heard from a lot of my friends that they assumed and expected, is that you're going to be best friends with your roommates. I was very lucky enough to know my roommates before I went in. I don't live in a dorm. I live in a townhouse, and I know one of them from 4 years ago, and the other one I met in February. And basically they both were looking for housing last year during their first semester of college for their second year. They basically contacted me and said, hey, we're looking for a third roommate. Are you still looking for housing? Are you going to come live in College Station next year? What's your plan? We have this open room. And so I was very lucky to like have this amazing opportunity basically just given to me. I know a lot of my friends who've done random selection, they just kind of like not expected, but also hoped that they were going to be best friends with their roommates, and it was not the fact. The thing is that the random selection for roommate system that a lot of the apartments and the dorms use isn't perfect. It's not cut and dry. It's definitely it's not perfect. And there's been a lot of people who've had roommate problems and just horror stories from their freshman year for living with a random selected roommate because they didn't know anyone to move into college with. Also, people that they've moved to college with, like their best friends, and then they just haven't gotten along with them because although that they're best friends, they have very different personalities, and just living in the same space, especially if it's small like a dorm, can be a little hard sometimes. Let's move on to number 6. I expected that I was gonna go out and party a lot because it was like my freshman year and I didn't have to deal with parents and whatever. I was wrong. So there's this dance hall / bar in College Station called Hurricane Harry's, and I love doing two-step with my friends and like pretzel and different things like that. And so I was super stoked, and I went a few times at the beginning of the semester with a few of my friends. And I think the last time I went was in October. I went weekly, and then it fizzled out real fast because you just don't have the time to do it. And for me, I definitely needed to dedicate a lot of my time for studying. And so I just didn't have the time to go. And this obviously isn't the fact for everyone, but I know for myself, if I'm out till like 1, 2 a.m. and I come home, the next day I'm useless. There's not productive. I don't do anything. I literally will lie in my bed for the longest time just trying to find the motivation to get up, and then I'm not doing anything for the rest of the day. And so yes, I go out sometimes, but the expectation was totally revoked. I found out that I was way too tired, and this might be different for different people, but for me, I just didn't find the necessity of going out all the time. Number 7, I thought that it would be a challenge to befriend my professors or just kind of get to them on a personal level. And I know that sounds really weird, but it's really good to be able to befriend them or get them to know who you are, especially in a big lecture hall. Because if your teacher knows who you are, they're more likely going to remember you. And whenever it comes time to submit your final grades, they're going to be more lenient on you, if that makes sense. So an example was that my general psych class was a lecture hall of 120 kids. And by the end of my freshman year, my professor knew my name, and he actually bumped my B to an A. Love Mr. White. If you go to Blinn, take Professor White. He's great. Awesome dude. He's so fun. His lectures were great. It was just the homework load was a lot. But anyways, regardless. Yeah, it wasn't that hard. It's just that you need to put in the effort to go and talk to them and go to their student time and go and ask them for help when you need it, because they're going to notice those little things and they're going to appreciate them. My 8th point or expectation that I have here is that I thought that my classes were going to be especially hard and that I was never, I was going to struggle so hard, but it's not actually that bad. And I think this also depends on the person you are, where you go to school for high school, and your study skills and your ability to sit down and work and get your stuff done. Whenever I got into college, I already knew how to study and how to be a good student for the classes that were really important to me. And that also goes along with the last point, where whenever I established those connections by going to student hours and putting in the time, it became a lot easier. At first, getting used to college, it was hard, especially for me. My college uses a lot of online websites, which I'm sure a lot of colleges do, in setting those up, paying for them, making sure you get all of your right books and all of the right connections. It was very stressful, but once I got the hang of it and I started asking for help and going to student hours and going to, we have a student center above the library where you can go for math and science help. And I started going to that when I needed it, and it helped exponentially. And classes weren't as hard as I made them out to be. My 9th thing is I expected that I was always gonna have something to do and I was gonna keep myself busy, but that's not true. Because if you think about it, when you're living at home, you are constantly with people. You have your parents, you have your dog, you have your brothers, your sisters, your whatever, you have your friends close by. So you're constantly doing things and you're constantly seeing people and making connections and having that social contact. But you go to college and your roommates are busy. They don't want to have social contact. They want to just sit in their room and be alone. You find yourself feeling really lonely at times. And I know that sounds really, sad. It sounds really sad, but it's just the reality. And I don't want to bend anything. I want to tell you guys the truth. For my 10th reason, I thought that it kind of goes along with one of the ones I said earlier, is that I said that I thought that I wasn't going to have the freshman 15 and that I was going to be super healthy and I was going to work out because I have a gym right across from my apartment. It's literally right there. My townhouse is just a few feet away. And I have a park where I can go run it. That went south really fast. Basically, at the beginning of the semester, I definitely was going out and running and being active, but I lost motivation for that so fast, and I really have no, that's my reality. I really have no advice on that yet because I haven't fixed that. I'm hoping I'm going to fix that this next semester. I think one of my biggest downfalls is that I had this big unobtainable plan, and I need to start small and work it into my schedule and put it on the schedule, because if it's scheduled, then I'm gonna do it. But yeah, I was definitely very lazy my first semester, and that was my reality. So yeah, those were 10 of my expectations for my first semester and my reality. I hope you liked it. I hope it helped a little bit with some of the things. I'm definitely going to probably do an update after I finish my first year after my second semester. But yeah, that's all I really have to say. I hope you have a fantastic day, and subscribe, like if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.